When most people see or hear the name Cleveland, most of them picture LeBron James and the Cavaliers pulling through to victory over the Golden State Warriors this past season in basketball, or they think of the Indians, who recently lost their winning streak but are still the Windians to Ohio natives. Or people may think of the Browns, who actually went undefeated this previous summer. Whatever the case, Cleveland has built a name for itself over the past decade through its sports teams. However, Cleveland first built its name, spelled with an extra A, off the back of John D. Rockefeller, who would help to increase the city's economy and popularity. Between the years 1850 and 1901, Cleveland's population grew exponentially from close to 17,000 to over 560,000. These individuals were a cause of immigration at first, which then turned to repopulation by those individuals to continue to ever-increasing numbers. This large fluctuation of immigrants was due to the increasing industrialization of oil, iron, and clothing that provided jobs to the thousands of individuals living under the poverty line during the time period. John D. Rockefeller, founder of Rockefeller Standard Oil Company and one of the most profound monopolists of United States history, would create a monopoly that not only increased the number of people being employed in the area during the 1800s, but also helped to improve the community after his retirement. Before Rockefeller became one of the wealthiest persons that has been seen in American history, he had to find his way in a world where moving up in social class was highly unlikely. He was born into a family with financial insecurities in 1839 and decided to devote his life to making a name for himself. He strived to make it to the top. He moved to Cleveland 16 short years later after dropping out of high school to pursue his big dream and found himself working for an accounting firm. When the Civil War broke out in 1861 and oil mining became explosive in demand, Rockefeller recognized the opportunity that Cleveland had due to its location on Lake Erie and the Cuyahoga River. He then used the city to build his company dedicated to providing a standard, high-quality oil made through the process of oil refinery. Oil refinery was a multi-step process that, when performed accurately, transformed the crude oil being mined from the earth into more useful products, such as kerosene, gasoline, and petroleum. These more stable products could then fuel transportation such as trains and automobiles, as well as light households. He participated in sharing and selling trusts to further expand the control his company was able to secure. His company began to expand further, both horizontally through New York, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, as well as vertically by him building and employing his own factories, warehouses, and pipelines. Within a short period of time, he had acquired control of 90% of the business of producing, shipping, refining, and selling the petroleum in the United States. And because of the large amount of trust that made up the Standard Oil Company, Rockefeller's company became the spotlight for breaking the Sherman Antitrust Acts set in place by the government to reduce monopolization. The company was brought before the Supreme Court in 1909, and on May 15, 1911, the court had ruled. They insisted that the company had broken the laws and therefore was forced to be split apart into 34 companies spread across the country. These companies, over the following century, would form the companies familiar to us today: ExxonMobil, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips. Although the Standard Oil Company was forced to dissolve, the city of Cleveland received many great benefits from being the center of Rockefeller's company after he went into retirement. He began his philanthropic work at this point in his life by donating money to building schools, parks, and public places. He also established the Rockefeller Foundation, the General Education Board, Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, and Rockefeller University, that all helped to improve the welfare of the public.